Thank you for joining me. I'm Alex, and I would like to talk about Clorox. So we did Colgate-Palmolive and the Unilever. Keep forgetting the last couple of days, and so I figured Clorox would be the logical next step for two reasons. Number one, I like doing Dividend Aristocrats. And number two, it is one competitor to both of those. The overlap is fairly small because the revenue is fairly small, but still, there's some overlap, and I like to group things together so you can more easily have kind of an impression on who does things better, who does things worse, and if you're going into one sector, it's good to know what they're up against. So they also do consumer goods, mostly bleach and related products, cleaning products and stuff like that. Current price is $149.82, which gives them a market cap of $19 billion. So it's obviously the smallest of the three by far. A very small market cap in terms of Dividend Aristocrats anyway. Dividend yield 2.83% with a 63% payout ratio, which is not terrible, but also not great. Revenue $6.2 billion, earnings of $820 million, and that gives them a PE of 24. Total assets $5.1 billion, total liabilities $4.6 billion, which gives them a total stockholders' equity of $560 million, which is obviously not great. Again, the company isn't that huge, so it's not terrible. And over the past 4 years, the revenue has been growing slightly every year. The earnings currently down, but they had also been trending up for the past few years. So, if anything, this is a very consistent business, and I would expect them to continue that way for a fairly long time. So, I really don't like the balance sheet getting worse at this point. I think that they really should be investing more in their business and kind of try to grow the asset side of the balance sheet rather than kind of just neglecting everything. Also, it seems like if they keep losing money, then the balance sheet getting worse could turn into a problem sooner or later. So I really don't like that balance sheet at this time. But obviously growth investors are just out because while the growth is consistent, it's not huge, and it's actually very small, like over the past 4 years going from 5.8-ish to 6.2 billion. Not huge growth even over 4 years. If you're a dividend investor, I think that there's probably better opportunities out there because the balance sheet is not looking great. And we're at a point where a consistent profit would make the balance sheet even worse. So we kind of need to grow the earnings here to kind of get the balance sheet in a better place. I don't think it's a problem right now, but they want to continue growing the dividends, which could then turn into problems later. And if they stop growing the dividends, they fall off the Dividend Aristocrats list, which could then send the stock kind of into a nosedive. So there is much at stake here with the dividend, and I don't think they can really afford the dividend at this time. They could obviously make other changes to kind of get the bottom line up, but this is kind of where we are right now. So for a value investor, the PE is slightly high. The dividend isn't great, but certainly helps. But the balance sheet, I don't think is that great. So I think value investors are out as well. For a dividend investor, I think you can do some research, look into the risk factors, of which I don't think there's any new ones in the past few years or in the next few years. But look into that, look into their plans on what they're going to do in the next few years to kind of get things back on track. But at this time, I don't think I'd recommend this stock to anyone. I think it's kind of on the edge, but I think right now there's better opportunities out there. So I don't think that anyone should invest in the stock right now, mostly because there's better opportunities out there, not because it's necessarily a bad stock. So that's it for me for today. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe. I'm coming out with more videos every day before market open. I hope you have a successful day.